Okay. Well, thank you, Beth. We're going to go
Sure.
on now to another organization called Rooted in Vermont, and we've got Laura Keenan, my colleague here at the Vermont Department of Libraries, and Shane Rogers, and they're going to talk about Rooted in Vermont and different library programming that can be done with that program.
Awesome. Thank you both. So my name's Shane Rogers. I am the Rooted in Vermont project manager. And I don't know about all of you, but I am like fondly reminiscing over my times as a kid in the library right now, hearing about everybody wins, um, and just thinking about all those good times. So what Rooted in Vermont is Rooted in Vermont is a grassroots movement that is working to celebrate how all Vermonters are doing local food. It was created by the Vermont Farm to Plate Network, and the real goal is to change that local food narrative to be more inclusive of how everybody is doing local in their own unique ways. So, what we're really trying to do is highlight activities that Vermonters have been doing for generations, such as like hunting and fishing and growing backyard gardens and foraging, and heading down to your local supermarket or your farm stand and really celebrating how everybody is doing local, whether it's big or on a big scale or on a small scale, and the hope that everybody sees local food as their own unique thing. So our ultimate goal is to increase local consumption of food because as of right now, as we're even in the state of Vermont, only 7% of the food that is bought here in the state is from local sources. And through this program and in concert with all the other amazing organizations and agencies and businesses that are working within this kind of local food movement, our goal is to increase that by 3% by 2020, which will end up resulting in about $300 million in economic activity from the farmers to distribution networks to the grocery stores to really putting that money throughout the whole entire state and the economy. So why does that relate to the Vermont State Libraries and the libraries around the state is as we work to engage more Vermonters who aren't always talked to about local food or who aren't always involved with the local food movement, we are constantly looking for community hubs to be able to have those conversations with Vermonters about how they do local food and what they are doing in their own communities. So naturally, the Vermont State Libraries was a great fit to be able to do this, being the center of communities from rural to urban. As we heard earlier from Everybody Wins, and as we all know, people are coming to the library as kind of that community center, whether it's to socialize or whether it's to pick up a book. And it really made sense for us to create this partnership. And what we are ending up doing is a week-long program called What Rooted in Vermont Food is in Your Backyard. So it's going to run from October 1st to October 7th. And what Laura and I are both doing are really working to encourage the libraries throughout the state to schedule one or more programs, whether that's passive activity programs or direct programs, to engage your community members, bring them into the library, and have a discussion about what local food means to them. And again, this ranges from not the $15 hamburgers or for your adult members like the expensive craft beers, but rather the what's in your garden, what's growing on your fence post, what are the deer running through, and how can that be processed and used for food. So as we have been able to establish this partnership, I know Laura has sent out an email already detailing ways to become involved, and we've received already some enthusiastic replies. And I will let Laura take it from here.
Okay. So hi everyone. Hopefully most of you recognize me. I am the statewide consultant for library directors and trustees. And I used to be a library director in Shelburne, and in many other communities that I visited, food and local food is a huge thing. So when I saw the Rooted in Vermont materials, I thought it would be a really great partnership. And so Shane and I are hoping that you'll join us for this week to take your library, and one of the things we all want to do is embed our library more directly into our communities in many ways. And an easy way to do that is through discussions or activities around food. So I did this a lot in Shelburne. I'm hoping that you guys will be encouraged to think about ways that you can do local food in your library during this week, and to build those local connections, to help people engage more directly with the local food movement in your town, to embed your library more deeply in the town by partnering with organizations or people you may not have thought to partner with before, or to bring in people from your community who may be experts in some sort of local food category. Shane brought up the 3 categories of gardening, foraging, and hunting and fishing. One of the ideas that I put out on the listserv, and I'll do it again, is this idea of potentially bringing local hunters into your library to talk about their hunting over the years and how their family has used that, or to bring a game warden in, or to bring someone to talk about hunter safety, to talk about fly tying, those sort of ideas. But I encourage you to be inspired to think about ways that you could talk about hunting and fishing and gardening or foraging in your community that can really entice people who might not have thought of the library as a resource for these types of discussions to enter into your library and engage with your fellow community members around these great ideas of the local food movement. And then if you decide that you want to do this, or if you need more ideas, you can contact me and Shane. Shane has a lot of great connections, so if you have an idea but you're looking for a way to develop it, I encourage you to connect with him, and he can help connect you with people or resources. I can do that too. And if you decide to do that during the first week in October, to let Shane and I know that you want to do that, because Shane has an email listserv, but he's also going to be publicizing events around the state happening at libraries on Facebook and creating events. He also will do other things for you, which I'm going to announce in the coming weeks, like help connect you with your local newspapers to really publicize this, so that you can be really part of a statewide movement of celebrating local, and we can help amplify your activities at your local library to a statewide audience. So hopefully you'll get more attendance and more excitement built up around that. Some of the other ideas that I really get excited about, bringing people together over food at my library was a huge thing, so that might help at your library too if you have some sort of harvest celebration where people bring in items from their garden that you can bring together and create something together at the library. Or maybe people make a recipe using items from their garden, bring that recipe and the results into the library, and you have some sort of celebration. If you're lucky enough to have an orchard in your town, maybe you can do some sort of apple program or cider tasting program or a canning demo. Those always happen in the fall. Maybe you usually do a canning demo. Maybe you can schedule it for this week so you can be part of this larger statewide program. I talked already about the benefits to your libraries, but I'm sure that you can think of a few others. And for promoting it, again, Shane is going to be doing some Facebook events, which we'll hook you up with so you can use those to promote those on your Facebook page. I also encourage you we'll be sending out a poster template, which you can use to put your event on, and you can post up around town or in your library. I am a big advocate of finding new and interesting ways to publicize library events. And so I encourage you to use an event like this to give you an excuse to go talk to the select board or your local funders about something that doesn't have to do with money, but that does happen to do with the good work that your library is doing in your community. And this might be a unique event to bring before your select board to show them how you're embedding yourself in the community, especially if you know your select board members and you know one of the things you're going to be doing is something they're interested in. It's a good way to make that connection. Maybe you can create a little bookmark that you put at the front desk that you put in people's books to talk about this program that you're going to be doing, putting it in your calendars, having a display with flyers about this event at it. Those are all sorts of things that hopefully can work for you.
And I just want to piggyback off of what Laura was saying, and that the nice thing about my job is that this is literally what I get paid to do. So as this week comes and as libraries across the state are figuring out if this programming does work, you can rest assured that I am here to help, especially along those promotion lines. So Laura did mention like setting up a Facebook event for your community, which you can share. We are also offering to send a free pack of Rooted in Vermont stickers and bumpers and postcards and brochures to be able to have at the event for people to take or just to have in general. And again, creating that press release and sending it out to your local newspapers and making sure that we're connecting it in. And then finally, what we want to make sure is that you guys are also plugging into these already created, I guess, collateral. So like the flyers and the posters, which we're happy to send along for you to fill in and print out. And just to reiterate, I am here, Laura's here to help make those connections in the community. On more ideas, for instance, I know there's a lot of farm to school organizations around the state that are doing great work and would probably love to partner up with the libraries. And sometimes those aren't the easiest to find, but with the Farm to Plate network and with Laura's connections, that's what we're here to email back and forth with and make sure that this is as smooth as possible. It's the least amount of work as possible, and to really engage the community in a relatively unique way.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention that you helped remind me of, Shane, is in engaging people in this unique way, one of my hopes for you is that it will help you in building advocates in the community that may not have been prime advocates for your library in the past. I'm not sure. In the libraries that I've worked in, I know that there are hunters, especially in fishermen in those libraries or in those communities, that may or may not see themselves as library advocates. And if you can show the community that the library is just more than books, that does offer a wider range of things, you can, in building these partnerships and bringing new people into the library, build up these new advocates for your library. And that's a great benefit anytime you try these new ideas. So we hope you give it a try.
Yeah, just as a very recently former library director, I'm just gonna throw in there two things that I love about that. One is that they're making it so easy for you, right? Because I know one of the things that was always very time consuming, I loved programming, but the whole making the Facebook event, making the posters, especially if I had to start from scratch. So there's going to be high quality like templates that you can just plug your information into, right? Yep. So that makes it easy for you, and I think that's huge. And then the other one was just along the lines of the bringing different people into the library, because I mean, this is really not that far from the information sharing traditional mission of libraries. It's just a different way of doing it. And so, you know, if your trustees are hesitant or anything about it, you could present it in that way, but at the same time, it's appealing to a whole different crowd of people that don't realize that we're information access, you know, making access to information more. You know, they just know that there's a cool program at the library that's different than anything that's happened before. So there's all sorts of advocacy directions you can go in with these things. Do you guys have anything more you want to add about Rooted in Vermont? Okay, so we're going to move.
It's okay. If you do decide to do the event, just make sure you email us, and that's how we'll be able to get all the fun stuff to you.